I want you to think of this question. What problem solves this forever? So my identity became somebody who created opportunity through people, okay? And not through generic marketing, let's call it. Now in 2024, I was about 150 million of that. And the way I did it was first by setting the foundation and the framework and reshaping my thinking.
Matt Weaver, the #1 mortgage originator in the United States for most loans closed in 2023 and #1 in the state of Florida from 2020 to present, has spent over 27 years mastering the purchase market, earning more than 16 #1 titles across his career. Max Fisch, 2024's #1 originator in the United States under 30 and #2 in the state of Florida, achieved those titles within just 5 years of entering the mortgage industry, compressing decades of growth into a few extraordinary years. Collectively, they've helped more than 40,000 families purchase their first home. Now partners and looking to improve the industry on a national scale, Matt and Max share their winning formula, team structure and systems with originators who want to scale from elite to extraordinary levels.
So I'm sure you're noticing that it's just me today. We're missing Mr. Matt Weaver. And I say that because if you're feeling like this episode is a little bit younger and a little bit better looking, you're right. But in all seriousness, Matt is actually at his son's first basketball game in high school. He's a 9th grader and he made his junior varsity basketball team. And Matt wanted to take some time this afternoon to make sure that he didn't miss it. And so that's important. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is because it's in the same vein of everything that we're talking about here with Originate for Life. You're getting your life back as an originator when you have processes in place where no agent is going unattended, no buyer is going unserviced, and every pre-approval is being taken care of. There are no delays there. And so Matt has the ability to be at his son's game, but not just be at his son's game, focus on his son's game. His attention is there. He's not taking a call and stepping out and missing his son's first basket on the team, something that he'll remember forever. And so it's just important that we understand that this is a perfect example of why Originate for Life works. But with that being said, I have to tell you, today is a very special day because within F13 Consulting, it is our consulting company where Matt consults some of the top originators across the country. We rolled out a new program today called Club Level. And Club Level services the originator that does hundreds of millions a year. Maybe an originator that does tens of millions a year. Maybe an originator that does less. So it services the complete and wide range of an originator's production. And the premise of what we're talking about is something I coined Agent X. Now, I know I've shared before that I used to be a math teacher. And the X in Agent X stands for multiplication. And so it's important to note that when I was a math teacher, and I think this is a key point, when I was a math teacher, I noticed something, and it's going to sound obvious to a lot of you, but very rarely is it notated. Let's use 5 plus 2, for example. 5 plus 2 equals 7. But 5 times 2 equals 10. So it just goes to further the point that multiplication trumps addition. So I challenged a wide range of originators from across the country today. I challenged their thinking. I wanted to shift their mind and reframe the way they looked at the real estate community and the industry. What value are they bringing to real estate agents? Are they somebody that's worth introducing? Are you a professional that's worth referring? These are all questions that we asked the originators today on our call, on our first call. And our first call was titled The Identity Shift. So I wanted to just share a few things with you today about how I grew my business and how I scaled my business to a very high level and very quickly. So just to reiterate, I've been in the lending industry for about 6 years. And there was a 36-month period within those 6 years where I went from about $0 in production to building a team of 250 million. Now in 2024, I was about 150 million of that. And the way I did it was first by setting the foundation and the framework and reshaping my thinking of how can I multiply agent relationships. So the first thing that I talked about was that most originators will say that they're in the loan business, will think that they're in mortgage. I never thought that way. I recognized early on in my career that I was in the people business. Okay, it was people first. Now, mortgage was what I did, it was the widget and how I impacted and served people, but I was in the people business. So my identity became somebody who created opportunity through people, okay, and not through generic marketing, let's call it. Because if you consider yourself in the loan business, if that's where your identity is, then the only way you're going to multiply your business is through marketing. How can I market myself? What school banners can I put up to where somebody in the car line sees it? There's a lot of things to consider, but one thing is for sure that we are in the people business. So I want to challenge you to reframe your mind. Okay? Second, we spoke about that you need to identify with the level in which you want to produce, because it's my belief system that identity precedes production. So you need to look at what kind of production levels do I want, and you need to identify with the person that can get there. Because you can only get there if you adopt the habits of a person that's already doing that. So I want to challenge you on that front as well. I also want to challenge you to think in systems and not tasks. I want you to think of this question. What problem solves this forever? Or what system solves this forever, I should say. So if we think about it, what's the problem? Let's talk about interest rates. Interest rates being a problem, for example. The task, maybe a buyer comes and they're sensitive to monthly payment, and we give them a monthly payment estimate. The system would be any new buyers in this market, we're going to give them a option of an interest rate buy down, permanent, temporary, so on and so forth. So that's an example. So think about what system solves this problem forever. Let's talk about the agent community's influence. When we look at an agent, we think maybe we can just help their buyers. But what about helping their colleagues? What type of value are we bringing them to have them refer us when there's an issue? That's a very, very big thing to constantly think about as a growing originator. And then lastly, you need to become easy to introduce. And this extends from professional to personal life as well. What you need to be somebody that's easily described. If somebody's describing you, what are they saying? Are they saying that's somebody that does loans? That's somebody that sometimes has the lowest interest rate? Or are they saying that's somebody who always has an upbeat personality, that deals well with me and my clients, that's encouraging, that's positive? Oh, and they're very good at their job, X, Y, and Z. Those are all things to consider, not just in your professional life, but in your personal life. I challenge you as a person, how are you being described? Think about it. If somebody is describing you, what are they saying? So some of the key takeaways today is we talked about our new identity, our primary value, and what are some steps that we can be taking. A new identity is growth through people. Let's adopt that identity. Let's talk about how we can grow through people and with people, not just through widgets, marketing, AI. Those things are all important. but how can we connect with people to where they want to introduce us to others? Then our primary value. Think about it. Who are you elevating? That's our value. Are we elevating real estate agents? Are we helping them in their business generate more buyers and sellers? Are we rolling out value propositions? Are we making them look good to the people that they're referring us to? Because people introduce and refer people who elevate them. Just natural, just the way it is. And then our operating behavior. How do we compound our exposure? How do we compound our exposure in the community? Because exposure creates opportunity, and opportunity creates wins for everybody involved. And so we need to think that way. How are we creating exposure? Through the value that we're bringing. So these are all things that I shared on and that we shared on club level as a part of F13 Consulting today. In addition to many, many other things that we discussed with our great members. And so I wanted to share a little bit of it with you, just to give you some insight on how we as a team think just a little differently. So I challenge you in your marketplace, try to think in a distinctive manner, because that is what people are attracted to. That is your value proposition, thinking differently.